So, and to be, all students were on leave. Okay, well, uh, today we do have new contents in the class. Today's class, I will give you the final project. How about final project, how to do it, and how to submit it. And about the rest of experiments, I will give you all these experiments for the next. The date is week 12, and the rest of the week, I will tell you what you should do in the next week, next week, and the rest of the semester. Well, at first, last week we have made the first experiment. Uh, you are required to create your first program with graphic user interface. For students that in class in person, went to the lab and did this experiment, and many of them have finished it. But I don't know for students online whether you finish it or not, or you miss some problem. I don't know. If you have any questions, please leave messages on WeChat. The first experiment is to build a simple application with graphic user interface. To do it, I recommend you to use the NetBeans as your tool, so you can use the NetBeans, and because the NetBeans will automatically generate code for you. So to design the graph interface, you don't need to write code. Instead, you drag and drop and draw your own interface, and then you get the application interface. And what you should do is write a code for the event handling. That is the first experiment is to design a desktop application that will convert money, for example, from the Chinese yuan to US dollars, and you need get a rate. And so in the interface, you have a text field to get the input of this Chinese yuan, and another text field or level to output the result. So, and you have to put a button on your application. So you push the button and you write code for the button. In this code, you will convert the money user rate. So it's not a tough program. And if you have still have questions, please leave messages in the WeChat group. I will help you out. And after you finish the experiment, you have to write lab reports. I have given you the template for a lab report, so you should follow the template to finish your lab report. And we will have 4 experiments. Each experiment, you should write a lab report. So at the end of semester, each student should have 4 lab reports. So it's very important. You should write your lab reports after you finish your experiment. So this is first experiment, and we have a rest of 3 experiments that will be arranged at the next week. I will give you a time schedule for it. or you can check out the time on the document. For students online, you don't need to check it. I will give you all these experiments documentation. I have create a folder in the DingTalk. In DingTalk, in the files, you can see a folder. I have created a folder named as Final Project and Experiments. And inside the folder, I have uploaded all of the 4 experiments here. 1, 2, 3. What is the rest one? 4. Well, the 4 experiments are all uploaded here. So for students online, you can download all these experiments requirement from the folder. And the first experiment we have finished it, but have number 2, 3, and 4 experiment. You can download it and you can do it yourself. Yeah. And arrange your time to finish them and write out the lab reports. For students inside campus, we will have the rest of experiments in the following weeks. The time schedule, you can see time schedule and place and the document. So you can download them, and at this we will follow. You can see this time and space on each of the experiment document, and we will finish them in the following weeks. The number 2, number 3, and the number 4 experiment. Okay, and this is about the experiment. And today, the class, a very important thing is I will give you a final project. As you know, at the end of semester, we don't have regular exam. Instead, we have final project. So you don't need to take a test or exam, but you have to finish a project. So as your grading, you should finish all these requirements in the final project. So today's class, I will introduce you the final project and tell you all the things that you should do for the final project, including what is the final project and what you should do for it and how to do it and when you should submit it. I'll tell you all these important things today. Okay? So, let's switch back to my. Okay, so I'll open the final project. Yeah, here's the final project. Okay, and you can download it from the DingTalk folder. I will explain it to you. The final project for our course, Java programming, and we have requirements and then a very important note. Okay, the first requirement is what you should do for the final project. It's in the requirement section. You have to finish a project. The project name is Roll Call Gadget. It's an application, a desktop application, and it's used for making a roll call. That you need to do is make an application for roll call. The requirement, we have basic functions and advanced functions. Basic functions means you have to finish all of these items. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 requirements. You have finished them all for the basic functions. And advanced functions will have 5 advanced functions depend on yourself. You can finish one of them, or two, or three, or all of them if you can. And advanced functions, if you finish it, you can get actual credits for the grading. So the, let's check out the base function. The base function for the roll call application is 1. Before running your application, make a text file with information of all students in the class. For example, you has 20 or 30 students. All the students' information, including you should create a text file. It's just very simple. Using an edit, you can make a text file. Inside the file, put all the information of the students in it, including the student number and student name. Each line, we have each line, you put information of student. For example, give an example. It's my application. F, yes, here. Well, no, for example, in NetBeans, the folder, the project folder, NetBeans project folder, you create a text file and put it in a folder. You can name it as you want. For example, we name it F190301. It's the class ID. And inside it is all the students' information. For example, 9 by 9, the first 9. The first student number is F190301. The name is Tom. Suppose it's Tom. And the second students, the second line is Jerry, third line is Pluto, and Mickey and Minnie are Donald Duck. It's all Disney characters, but instead you replace them with your true name. You have all student or classmates' name and student number. If you don't have it, ask the monitor to get it. The student list. And make this as a file. Put all the students' information into the file, each line for one student. Okay. The student number, space, and then the name of students. Okay. This is first step. And second step, the application that you have made will read the file and load the list of students into the application. So your application should read the file and get information. How to read the file from the application? The contents will talk about the next week. We'll talk about the stream. So we use stream to read file and get information from file. So after you've studied the stream, the contents, you can do it. It's not so hard, and it's to read a file. And the second step is read a file and load the list students. And the third step, in your application, you should have a start roll call. So you are required to make application with graphic user interface. For example, I make a sample one. It's a sample application. It's interface, roll call getter. And we have 3 buttons here. Start roll call, the first button, and the second button is attending, third is absent. So we have 3 buttons, and we have now we have a text field. Text field in the future will display information for roll call. And result, we have 2 text fields. One for the number of students attended, another one for students absent. For example, you have 30 students inside of class, but today only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5 students here. So attending students number is 5 and absent is 25. So this is the result. And this first text field is to show the students' information when make roll call. It will display the student number and the student name in the text field. Okay. This is interface, the graphics interface, desktop application. For you, it's not, you can draw it. Use NetBeans, well, drag the components into the JFrame and drop it, and to make its graphics interface. It's not it's an easy work for you. If you have finished your first experiment, you know how to do it. And let me get back to the document, make it larger. So if you hit the start roll call button in the window application, the student number and name of the first students on the list will be displayed on the window. So, for example, we get back to NetBeans. It's our applications here, and I run it. For example, I will run it. When we run the file, because at the first step, you have created a student list file and put it in the folder of NetBeans. The first step, you have put the file into it. Next is the contents, each one for students, student number and student name. And second one, third one, and all the student list here in the file. And so the second step, when you launch your application, it will read the file and load the list of students. No students through here, no students from file into the application. Inside of Windows, you should declare a structure. Maybe it's an array, maybe it's a vector. Use a structure store the information that I read from the file. So read the file and put all this information, all the student list to the array or a vector. In the second step, so in the third step, you push the start roll call button, and then the student number and name of first student, because we make roll call from top to the bottom. So the first student's information, including number and name, will be displayed on the window. So this is my application. I run it, start roll call. You can see it. And my list of students here, I make it smaller, and you can see here's a student list. I will make a roll call from the top to the bottom. So the first student is Tom, the second student is Jerry. So I start roll call, we push this button, and the first student information will display on your application. So it's an application for roll call. So it's used by teacher, used by me. So I launch this application and I hit start roll call, and the first students will display on the application. The first student is F190301, Tom. So when you see your name on the application, and if you are here, you can raise your hand. If you're not here, nobody. So I will hit attending or absent based on the response. If I can see, you are here, you raise your hand, Tom, raise your hand, Tom is inside the classroom, so it's here, attending. But if Tom is not here, I will hit absent. So I will hit attending or absent. So for example, Tom is not here, so I will hit absent. If I hit absent, follow the list, the second students will display on the vacation. Jerry. If Jerry is inside classroom or not? Well, if it's still absent as Tom, I hit absent. So the next is Pluto. Pluto's here, he gives a hand. So turning. And the next student's Mickey. Mickey is turning. And Minnie is absent. And the final students are Donald Duck. It's absent. So when it comes to bottom, at the end of the list, when we hit absent, it will tell me the roll call finish up. We walk through the top to the bottom, from the first student to the next student. All the students, we have walked through them. So it will pop out a dialog box. So it will pop out a dialog box and tell me it's finished up. So it's very important in the step. Repeat the roll call operation and go through all students on the list. Maybe it's absent, maybe it's attending, so hit the different buttons. And when the roll call is finished up, the final step, show the status data of the roll call, including the number of students attending class or skipping class. So it's in my application, I used a dialog box to pop out, tell me roll call is finished up, and we hit the okay, and it will give me a result. About 12 students inside classroom, but 4 of them absent. So we get a result, and the result will display on my window. That's from 1 to 6. 6 steps for the basic function. For the basic function, you should make a test application to implement the basic function. That is very important. And advanced function is the first one is show the name of students who are attending class or skipping class respectively. Show the name of the students who are attending class or skipping class. That means in your vacation. Now, this application is made by me. It's a sample application. Only display the result. The number of students attending and absent. So the advanced function that requires you show the name of students attending and absent. So you should make bigger, make this size of this window bigger enough so you can put the name of students that is attending and absent on the window. So this is the first advanced function. And the second one is output a statistical output statistical data of roll call into another text file. So you have a text file, you made a text file, inside the text file is a list of students, but your application can generate a new text file. Inside the file is make the list students same as input file. So this is your raw your text file. Inside it is a list, and you output a new text file, and this file have the same contents as your input student list, but based on the roll call result at the end of each line. For example, the first student Tom, at the end of the line, it will mark it as attending or absent. So you can use a symbol. For example, attending, you use Y, or absent, use N, no, yes or no, Y or N to indicate it's absent or attending. So it's a second requirement to adding an actual mark Maybe it's a letter, maybe it's a word to indicate the result of a roll call inside the text file with the second advanced function. The third advanced function is automatically rename the output file. So this file you can name as the time, the date and the time. For example, the data time is a roll call time. I make a roll call today. For example, today is May 13th, so that is 2021, 2021 this year, and May 13th, and our minutes maybe it's, now it's 7 p.m. and 4 minutes. So you use this as the name of the text file. This is the third advanced function to rename the file as the date information. Sure. And the fourth advanced function is shuffle the students in the list. Because in the basic function, when we make a roll call, all the students will follow the order from the top, from the first students to the last students. Follow the order of the student number. From student number, from the small to the first student, to the second, to the third, till to the last students. But in this advanced function, you should shuffle the students in the list. So maybe when you hit the start roll call, hit it, the first students appeared in the application displayed in the text field is not the first students, maybe the third students here. And when you hit attending absent, it will comes to the next students. The next students, if not follow the order, maybe a random select another students and display on it. So it's a shuffle. So you should make shuffle students on list to display information. Use a shuffle list when making a roll call, not follow the roll list. Follow the roll order as this student number. Do not follow the student number and you should shuffle it. Use a random order to display students on your application with the fourth advanced function. And the last advanced function is a nice and easy to use interface. So the nice, easy to use interface for example, as application, it's nice, easy use interface means maybe you can write a help menu for it. You create a menu and put a help menu item for it, and give the user some help information for it. Maybe you can add some. For example, you can change the color or font of the interface and make this interface nice. Okay. We have 5 advanced functions. I have 6 basic functions. So this is about the final project, roll call gadget. It's application, it's software application. And anyway, important notes for you. This is the final project. You must finish the final project to get a grade for this course. We don't have regular exam, as you know. Instead, you should finish the final project. This is first step. The second, students work on project team. So this final project is not for one student, only one note. It's for group. So maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of you inside the classroom, you can build a team to do the project together. You can do it by yourself. One student is okay, no problem. But make a group to do it. So student working project team for pilot project. You can build a team as you want. But up to 5 students. Do not 6 students is not allowed. 5 students, okay. 4 students, 3 students, 2 students, no problem. 1 student, I do not recommend. If you can do it, no problem. You can do it only depend on your own self, no problem. But you have heavy bundle for it because a lot of work to do. There are tons of work you need to do. Not not we have finished our application and we have to write a document for it. So tons of work. So I don't recommend 1 student to do it. But if you want, no problem. Okay, but up to 5 students, 6 students are not allowed. Too many students, it's not allowed. Okay. What? Only 1 student? Online students is same. Online students you can, for students online, you can make group. It's no problem. Yeah, you do have you have same as the the students inside the classroom. You have the same. You can make your own team, and you can communicate by WeChat or all the communication tool. You can make a group based on internet. It's no problem. So for students online, it's the same. You build a group, build a team for finishing the project. Uh, Third one, the final project must implement as a desktop Java application. So you have to use Swing package to make a Java application that is running on desktop application. Do not produce application run a browser or running a phone. That's not, we don't need that type of application. So desktop application, desktop Java application is what you should make. All these basic functions must be completed for passing the final project. So the basic function will have 6 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 points. You must finish all of them for passing the final project. So if you do not finish it, you cannot pass the final project because it's a basic function. As I have shown, this is a basic function. If you finish the application like this, you can pass the final project. But don't worry, I will give you guidance for how to make this application. Because some of the components you have not learned, for example, how to read file, we will talk about in the chapter 9. Read file, we can use a stream object to read file. And so I will give you guidance after the following weeks. So don't worry, the basic function is not a tough work, but advanced function may be a little bit tough. So the basic function you have to finish all them. Advanced function are optional. You can do it. Use a tool. That means you mean the development tool. The development tool you can use NetBeans. And the code for the graphic interface is the same, generated by the tool. But you have to write actual code handling the event. These projects, because for example, you have to read file, and you have make a list store inside the application, and make a roll call. So you usually write a lot of code for it. So graphic user interface generated by the tool, no problem. It's a graphic interface is not a problem. Always it's not a problem. But how to write the code for handling, to deal with the event. You hit the button, start roll call, hit the attending, hit absent button. You write code for it. It's a lot of job to do. Yeah. 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 The sim like that. Okay. I will give you guidance the following weeks. Yes, one. Oh, next. Yeah. The DOS function. Yeah. Package. The package is swing package. Yeah. You mean how to submit the project? Yeah. Yeah. How to submit project? I have another document for you to how to submit it. So in this document, only about the contents of the project, what you should do, and how you should submit, how to submit this project. I have another document for it. Okay, no problem. And have a great day. Okay. And all these documents I have uploaded to the DTalk, download them from DTalk. Well, all students today in the classroom, and you write, make a make a make a record to this the topic. Okay, and this row, in this column to if you're here, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And only one, two, only 5 students. Yeah. Where are the other students? Uh, no, no reason. Ill, busy, sleep, sleeping. It's not the time to sleep. It's too early. Yeah. Okay.
Steve, your ID number? 17.
For this one. For this one. Yeah. Okay. So,
I wanted to ask you, the last part you said you should implement the project.
yes.
So let's say when you're done with the project, you package. So you package in a way that can you install your project?
Oh, yes. About the application, what you should do is, for example, you use NetBeans. So you write all the code inside NetBeans, and the final step in NetBeans, you can use the build function to make a JR file. That's enough. You don't need to make a installation application for your code. So all the work is done by NetBeans, not enough. So the final step, you the build function to make a JR file. Okay, it's not. Yeah. The JR is a package for the application, executable application, JR file. Okay. So you can think about how to make a team. Yeah, before you do the final project, how to make a team. You can make a team by yourself, up to 5 students. Okay, I recommend 3 or 4 students or 5 students. If 2 or 1, tons of work, but you can try. Yeah, no problem. And most students will, yeah.
You know, I'm with you. So we're 10 students here, so.
And all the students inside the same group have the same grade for final project. So you should work together. No arguing, no quarreling. So work together and to get high grade for the project. It's important. So teamwork. I encourage you teamwork, good teamwork. Okay. The final project. Or the list, final project. I wasn't clear. What? Oh, yeah. Yes, final project report. And I will talk about it.
So we also need to submit the lab reports as well.
Yeah, lab report. Each student should submit a report. So, for example, you have a team. A team have students, 3 students inside a team. So, when you submit the final project, you submit the final project application and the final project recovery report, and decide each student inside the group should submit 4 lab reports. We have 4 experiments, so we have 4 lab reports. So 3 students inside the group, and when you submit your lab reports, you make a folder to put all these team members' lab reports inside. So we have 12 lab reports inside the folder for all the team members. Okay. Each student have 4 lab reports. So. Well, we'll continue. Yeah, there is a document. The number four is about the materials should be submitted. The list of materials of final project submitted by each team. Well, this material first one. All these materials should be electronic materials. You don't need to submit hard copy. Soft copy is enough. Okay. So all the electronic materials. The first one is final project report. It's a document file with Microsoft Word document format. That should be typewritten by English following the unified document template. We have a template for it. The final project will have an annex. Here's the annex. Go back to it. Well, so not it. The template for the final project. Well, template. Oh yeah. Here's the template for the final project. This cover. It's cover for the final project, and the name is not. I'll change the name. The name is not a multifunction card. The name is roll call get it. I will modify it. It's just a project for the students next year, not this year. This year's roll call application. Number of team member. If you're 5 students, it's a team member. Yeah, it's 5 or 2 or 3. Okay, and this all the student number, name and number here, and developer tools. your Max development tool, for example, NetBeans, or and operating system, and limit project folder submit, and the finish time. Okay. This part is for assessment used by me. So this is format for the final project. And we come back. Come back. The second one is executable application, JAR part, the package your application using NetBeans. We have a build function. You can use the function in the menu. The build function, you can make a JAR file, or class files is okay, no problem. And the source code. So if you submit your application, you submit the whole folder of the all project, all this folder, including the source code, including the executable application inside the folder. So the source code and executable application and the data file. For example, we have a student list. So if you submit your application, for example, you submit the folder, the project folder. The project folder including the source code inside the SRC, the subfolder, and the build inside it, the class file. And if you make a JR file, it will have a folder named as DIST folder, distillation folder. Inside it is your JR file. Okay. So you submit the whole folder, including all the subfolders now. And inside it, including the data file. So you should put the data file inside the folder. This is data file for student list. And the file, the short video file to demonstrate all functions which are being implemented by application. So you should make a video file to demonstrate your application. For example, you have finished your application, so you can make a video file. You use a tool to record the screen. When you run the application, you use a tool. You have a lot of tools to do it. To use a tool to record your screen when you run the application, and you can say something for it. You introduce your application. For example, our application, we have finished all these functions, the first function, the second function. You can demonstrate it in the video file. Or you can use the phone to make the video file with a camera or your phone, and this is screen. You can camera the phone. You make a video. So the video should keep it nice and short, and do not make it too longer than 5 minutes, and the size less than 20 megabytes. This is video file. And when you finish all this, and you should create a folder. A folder the format is student number, and score, student number. For example, has 3 students inside a team, so the name is student number and score, student number, score, and student number. If it's 2 students, it's the name of folder. And inside the folder, you create 3 subfolders. 3 subfolders is DOC, document, sort, and demonstration. So the final project report, you put it into the document folder, and your application, you put in the soft folder, and your video file, you put in the demonstration folder, demo folder. Okay. And how to submit the materials, we have another document for you. The deadline for all these materials, it's June next month, the end of next month, June 25th, June 25th, the next month, the deadline. Okay. You should submit all the materials before the deadline. The sections for the final project report are shown below. The sections for the final project, as we have a template, so the final project, this is cover, and follow this questionnaire. You can make, we will make a survey for it. You finish it, and finish all this up, and finish all the questions. And this is for you write some comments here. Yeah, if you comment, please write it down at this blank. And the contents, the final project contents, we have system. We have 7 sections. The first section is system and system design. And the second one is implementation and key code description. And third one is theories and algorithms. And software debugging, testing, summary experience engineering, references, and team members. Well, the first one, system analysis and design. That is, in this section, you describe your understanding of the system. Before you make this application, how do you think about the application? How to design it? You draw a picture for it. Maybe you have different methods to do it. You make a comparing for this different method before you make your application. So the system analysis design, how to design application. You write something for it. This is the first section. The second section is system implementation and key code description. Once you decide how to make your application, so the next step is the implementation for it. For example, you use Java to implement the final project. So then draw a picture for objects you use inside the application. The relationship between these objects, between these classes, you can write, you use a diagram to show the structure of your application. So the system implementation and key code. Maybe some code is very important, so you should write. You should make some explanation for the code. So you write something for it. This second section. The third section is serious and algorithms. So the algorithm, we focus on the algorithm. For example, in this application, maybe algorithm is what kind of structure you use for store the information you read from file. This is about algorithm. And if you make shuffle application operation, how to make the shuffle? Get a random order. That is our algorithm for it. So you write something for it. Rules and algorithms. That's the third section. And the fourth section is software debugging and testing. So during you make the final project, how to debug? You have problems. How you solve your problems? Maybe it's a comparing error. Maybe it's a runtime error. When you make this problem, how you solve them? How you debug them? So I recommend you to make a record for this part during your make application. You can make a notes, make a log file for every day's work. You make a log, so you can write this section based on your notes during your developing this application, software and debugging and testing. And the test step, you should test each function required. The first one, for example, roll call, how to make roll call, the first step, second step, make a test for it. And a summary of experience engineering. This experience in engineering, that is, in this section, how to select suitable development tool. You can NetBeans, it's no problem. Maybe you can try other kind of development tool, for example, Eclipse. So you can describe how you decide to which tool is more suitable for your team. You write something for it. And debugging testing. Which tool are used to write this report? So the document tool. When you make this final project report, which kind of document tool you use for it? For example, Microsoft Word. And a very important thing is, if inside a team, not only one student contribute for the document, not more than one student contribute for the document, how you share the document among all these team members, and keep the version. You write the first part, a second part, how to make them together. That is document tool, maybe some online edited tool for your document. Okay? You write something for it. How about your team? You describe your team, the roles of each team member, and each team member's responsibilities, what the job inside the team, how to manage the team. When you manage the team, maybe some problems coming out. How to solve this problem. So write something for the team manager, the teamwork. So it is summary of experience in engineering, right? This content for the fifth section. And the next one is references. So if you reference some papers, books, or other materials, write them as the references. And the final section is team members. The team members is you're required to provide contact information of your team. You inside the team, you have, for example, you have 3 students. You should provide at least one of students the contact information, for example, phone number or email address. It's very important, and because maybe I will contact you for your materials. For example, once you submit the materials, I will check them. If something missing, I will contact your team, and you should submit for me. So submit the rest material to me. So team member contact information, write at least one student's information inside the section. There's a 7 parts. So we have altogether we have 7 sections for this final project report. Should finish all this section. Okay. And it's very important. No cheating. It's very important. No cheating. So you are not allowed to copy. You do not allow. If you copy another team's work, well, it's cheating. Cheating. That's a serious problem. If you are cheating, you're failure to pass the course. It's very important. Remember, do not cheating for the final project. And all these materials must be made before the deadline. It's important. If you not submit the materials, it's the same. You fail to pass the course. So, this is about the final project. And this is for the template for the final project report. And I'll give you another thing. This is about this is grading. Grading. How to grading? Grading standards. Basic policy. Well, the final grade for the course, well, including the performance in class and the final project. The performance in class, including assignments. You submit assignment and experiments, quiz. We don't have quiz this semester, so omit, just skip it. So assignment and experiment, well, and well, the performance in class, and a turning record. A turning record is not an important thing. I don't write it down. The turning record, well, determine the sum of the performance in class. And the final project, because the final project, all the team members inside a group have the same grade for the final project, but the performance in class are different from each other because each student, maybe some students haven't submit assignment or experiment, a lab report. So